What's up, guys? I'm Cody Parker with Drop the Beat Farms, and this is my Dutch bucket hydroponic cucumber and tomato system. So I started growing these plants as a Dutch bucket method. It's a hydroponic solution that I'm using, and the variety here is Socrates, which is an awesome European variety. That's apparently one of the best kind of cucumbers that you can get. European varieties are very well known for their taste. And this is an alphabet variety. I think I'm pronouncing that right, which basically means it's smaller than the average type of European cucumber. So these should get to about 8 inches or so, 1.5 to 2 inches thick. And these guys are growing fantastic. These are Dutch buckets with perlite as a grow medium. I have a rock wool block on top. It's the first time I'm growing in a Dutch bucket method, and it's working out fantastically. Every day I come in, it's daily maintenance. I come in and I remove these little suckers. Sometimes I get 1 to 2 to 3 cucumbers per truss. So that's removed so that there's 1 cucumber at each node. And then I come and I wrap these plants around so I can trellis them up to the top. And eventually you're gonna reach the top and then start growing back downwards. I'm so excited for these cucumbers. They should be ready probably around May, June CSA. Right now we got 32 buckets. I got a bunch of tomatoes that I'll show you down the end. And I plan on doubling this, so we're gonna have 60 buckets. So I'm gonna be growing cucumbers and tomatoes using this method. So we're gonna get about 120 cucumber and tomato plants, hopefully by September. And I plan to grow all year round. We have a heated greenhouse, so we can keep on growing all year round. So we're gonna have fresh cucumbers and tomatoes all year long. And this variety, the way that this is set up, is doing fantastic. So these are the tomato Dutch bucket. It's connected to the same exact system as the cucumbers, which is right here. So they're sharing the same nutrient solution. This is a Big Dana, which is a beefsteak variety that does really well in hydroponics, so I'm told, and it is doing fantastic. These guys are growing pretty big. The way I'm trellising them is with twine up to the top, and I have enough slack at the top so that I can periodically kind of loosen the slack and lay down the stem so that it actually grows kind of sideways. All this stem here, I'm gonna try to consolidate space because I only have 4 feet of head space. So I want to kind of try to grow them sideways and have the top kind of face upwards. So we're kind of just slanting these down every now and then. I'll give some slack to the plant and it'll keep growing sideways. This is also a little bit of daily maintenance. I come in and I remove the suckers that are at each node. And these suckers can take out a lot of energy from the plant and also kind of make things a big mess that you're kind of used to with tomato plants. But in a Dutch bucket hydroponic system, it's a much more manicured plant. I come in and I remove the suckers all the way up to the first flowers that come from here. So every sucker that comes below this, I'm removing. So this is a single truss system. We have 1 liter plant, 1 liter stem that goes up to the top. You can do a 2 liter stem if you're doing like outside crops, but for here we want to consolidate space because I'm growing so many plants in such a small amount of space. I'm doing 2 plants per bucket. Each bucket is a foot away from each other. So we need to kind of get rid of any extra space. So I'm doing the single truss system. There's some YouTube videos to help explain that. But it's a good way to conserve energy for the plant so that I could focus on 1 liter stem and produce tomatoes out of that. And also get rid of the mess in here so that there's enough light hitting the plant. These guys are doing awesome. They have the same sort of nutrient demand as the cucumbers. I'm using, I think it's called Masterclass fertilizer hydroponic mix. It's not organic, but it saves a ton of nutrients compared to outside crops. We're saving 90% of water compared to soil-grown crops in this type of system. And the reason being is the reservoir that we're using in a recirculating hydroponic system. So it's extremely sustainable. Pest issues are minimal, so there's less demand for kind of intensive spraying procedures, and all the sprays that I'm doing are organic. But I'm going to show you guys the reservoir so you can see how that works. So this is my nutrient reservoir. This is a 55-gallon tub. Got it from Home Depot. It's pretty easy to source. And what's happening is we have about 50 gallons of nutrient solution in here. It's just hydroponic nutrient solution mixed with water. And what's happening is we have this pump. It's an RV style pump that pumps 3.3 gallons per minute, and it's a pressurized pump. So we have 2 gallon per hour drip emitters in this drip line. And these are pressure compensating emitters. So what that means is they only work at a certain pressure. And also if you have too much pressure, it could mess things up. But the point is that when you have the correct amount of pressure, every single drip line is emitting exactly 2 gallons per hour. So it's really good if you have a big system like this 30 bucket system. What's happening is this pump pumps through into this fitting, and this fitting right here is actually a filter, and it also reduces the pressure. It keeps that at 30 psi. After it runs through here, we have exactly 30 psi, which is the exact pressure that we need for these drip emitters to function. So I'm going to turn this on. So this pump is running water from the nutrient solution, and this drip emitter is going and pushing water out of this drip line right here. So this is coming out at 2 gallons per minute, or 2 gallons per hour. And what's happening is it's flowing through this Dutch bucket. The beautiful thing about Dutch buckets is it always has a reservoir of water at the bottom. And when that water gets replenished, it removes the old water, keeps the fresh water at the bottom. The old water comes out of the drip line, and then it goes into this 1.5 PVC. That 1.5 PVC runs back into the reservoir. So we have a recirculating system where fresh water is removing the old water is coming back into here, and then it can replenish again. So this way we could save a ton of water rather than wasting this nutrient solution. We could use this nutrient solution and reuse the water constantly in this type of system. So we can save a ton of water, a ton of nutrients, and produce great tomatoes using this system. This pump is on a timer, so I don't have to worry about it. The thing self-waters itself, so it's pretty fantastic. Instead of having to water every single bucket, I'm watering 30 buckets and 60 plants just using this type of system. Yeah, so it's pretty awesome to be able to work with a type of system like this. You think a lot more with your head, and the rest is just very convenient. Constant maintenance on these types of plants and removing the suckers, making sure you have the right nutrient solutions, no weeds in this entire system, and you're actually getting the perfect amount of nutrients for the plants. These types of nutrient solutions are formulated to give the exact correct ratios to plants, so you're not worrying too much. There's not that much guesswork. You just have to weigh out the proper amount of fertilizer to add to the nutrient solution. So that's my entire system. Last part is these tables are actually built at a slant so that the drain pipe can actually flow water down into the central reservoir. So each long table is about 15 feet. We fit about, it's actually 16 feet because we fit 16 buckets in here. And we have a central reservoir. And each of those tables are actually pitched inward so that they can drain to that central reservoir. So that's my system for right now. If you guys want any further details on this, I definitely recommend that you check out certain articles written by Crop King. Another good one is Upstart University has good information on building these systems. And my favorite guy is MHP Gardener on YouTube. I get a lot of my peace of mind from that guy. He's awesome, and he's helped describe all the trial and error that he's had over the course of 2 years. It's fantastic. I definitely recommend him. If you type in Dutch Bucket Tomatoes on YouTube, he's going to be one of the first people to pop up. So thanks a lot for checking this out. And if you guys want any consulting or systems built in a school, in your greenhouse, I can service the entire tri-state area. I'm Cody Park with Chocolate Beat Farms, and take care, guys.